we have reached the final day for op art, line, and shape, and it is time to review and respond. So reviewing op art is short for optical art, and the goal of op art is to distort reality by making a two-dimensional surface appear to be three-dimensional, or to have movement, or both. And that's accomplished through the use of lines, shapes, colors, and the figure-ground relationship. So if you look at the image that is there, it can give the illusion that it is a tunnel or a hole, and then if you look at it long enough, it starts moving. So line was the next thing you did. Remember, line is a path of a point through space. It's one of the elements of art. It has one dimension. It has directions and variations. And the directions are vertical, which is straight up and down, horizontal, side to side, curves, like these are curves, angles, these would be angles, and diagonal. The variations, length, width, texture, speed, and direction. Shape is another element of art we talked about this week. It is an area enclosed by line. Organic shapes are irregular or natural shapes, and so that's most natural things like people and dogs and trees and ice cream and almost everything. Geometric shapes are regular. They have mathematical properties that are formulas that don't change. All circles have 360 degrees. All triangles have 180 degrees. And the circle circumference use the same formula, whether it's a tiny circle or a big circle. They're regular. So now we're going to go back to week 1 and review art criticism. And remember that art criticism is writing about art, and it has four parts to it. The first part is description, which is what something physically looks like, and that was your assignment last week. You looked at the painting, picked out an object, and wrote a description. Analysis, which is how the artist used the principles and elements in the composition, and we're going to focus on that this week. The next one is interpretation, which is what the artist is communicating with their art. And then the final one is evaluation, which is strengths, weaknesses, and comparison to other art. So a few reminders for writing, though you did very well last time. Paragraphs are 5 or more sentences. Use the Google Docs, just use the default font and color. Check your spelling and grammar. So that means if your word shows up with a little wiggle under it, something's wrong. Fix mistakes. And as always, you can write in Spanish or English, the language of your preference. So what your assignment is, and this is your written assignment for this week, is look at the image that's right there, Bridget Riley, Blaze number 1. And you're going to write an analytical paragraph about the art that answers the following questions. So include the answers in your paragraph, okay? Just one paragraph, but in that paragraph, answer at least these things. How did the artist use line to create the illusion? So for that, you would talk about directions or variations. How did she use line? And that is your second question. What are the variations and directions of line used? How do the lines create shapes is your third question. And they make a couple different kinds of shapes if you really study it. How did the illusion create the feeling of visual movement? What do you think she did with the lines and the shapes in order for it to feel like it was moving? And then the final one, why do you think the artist only used black and white? So that kind of goes into something that we haven't been formal with, but think about it. think about it in black and white, and then think about, would it be effective if it was black and dark blue? That would be low contrast, the lines would be hard to see. Or if it would be other colors, okay? So again, you're writing a paragraph about the picture on your right, and within that paragraph, you're answering, how did the artist use line to create illusion? What are the variations and directions of the line used? How did the lines create shapes? How did the illusion create the feeling of visual movement? And why did the artist only use black and white? Okay? And that's it for this week. Next week, we'll be on to something else.